Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
Zhou Zhou looked at the battlefield in front of him. Nazario, which was more than 50 meters tall, stepped on an elemental creature made of yellow sand. It was the regional lord of the sand wasteland. Wild Sand King, White Sand. At this moment, the other party was already motionless. It was obvious that it had died at Nazario's feet. Near it were 50,000 military professionals who were like the autumn wind sweeping away fallen leaves, quickly wiping out more than 8,000 desert fog demons. In less than a moment, the battlefield returned to calm. All the desert fog demons had already turned into corpses. Only the soldiers cleaning up the battlefield were left. All the loots had been extracted more than an hour later. Bai Yun walked over. "My lord, you're back," she immediately said happily when she saw Zhou Zhou's clear eyes. Zhou Zhou smiled and nodded. Actually, it would not affect his main body's consciousness if he used a portion of his consciousness to control the bloodbats. It was just that he would be a little distracted. However, Zhou Zhou had placed most of his consciousness on the bloodbat in order to avoid any mistakes during the transaction just now, and asked Bai Yun to protect him, who would be distracted. Fortunately, everything went smoothly. Nothing went wrong. "My lord, all the lord-level forces in the Dust Wasteland have been destroyed. This is the list of loots we recorded." Bai Yun handed the list of loot to Zhou Zhou. Zhou Zhou took it and looked at it. There were a total of 2 white silver tier Scarlet Lord territories, 4 green bronze tier Scarlet Lord territories, 7 black iron tier Scarlet Lord territories, and 3 Lord territories, including the Storm Lord territory. During the process of conquering these territories, the Blazing Sun Army had killed a total of 39,700 fog monsters and foreign race enemies. With the enhancement of the King of Loots and the Strongest Lord, he obtained a total of 142 white platinum tier mist cores, 6,792 yellow gold tier mist cores, 72,870 white silver tier mist cores, and 146,466 green bronze tier mist cores. 64 origin crystals. There were 44,512 various skill books, 78,242 pieces of basic equipment, and more than 10.6 million units of basic materials. 21,889 true faith tier scarlet crystals, 14,900 pious tier scarlet crystals, and 1,111 true faith tier scarlet crystals. 4 white silver tier advanced grade alchemist recruitment books. 2 white silver tier intermediate grade alchemy technology recruitment books. 1 yellow gold tier advanced grade black flame horse mount contract. 1 golden ring elk mount contract. 96 green bronze tier lord talent crystal fragments. 2 silver tier territory tokens, 6 green bronze tier territory tokens, and 8 black iron tier territory tokens. 1 white silver tier regional token. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. He had just spent 65 fanatic believer faith divine crystals today. Yet he obtained more than 1,000 fanatic believer scarlet crystals conquering a white silver tier regional territory, and would obtain another 1,000 odd fanatic believer faith divine crystals when he returned to the shelter. "Perhaps the most valuable currency in my hands is these faith divine crystals." Zhou Zhou thought of how much the goddess of life and the death god valued these faith divine crystal. As for the black flame horse mount contract and the golden ringed elk mount contract, they were looted under the influence of the Knight's Temple building. Zhou Zhou specially took it out and looked at it curiously. Treasure name: Black Flame Horse Mount Contract. Treasure grade: Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade. Treasure effect: after blood recognition, you can obtain a black flame horse with yellow gold tier advanced grade bloodline as your mount. Treasure description: a mount type treasure. After using it, you can obtain a black flame horse as your mount companion. Note: non-knight type professionals can only obtain 3 mounts in their lifetime. Knight-type professionals can only obtain 7 mounts in their lifetime. Treasure name: Golden Ring Elk Mount Contract. Treasure grade: Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade. Treasure effect: after blood recognition, you can obtain a Golden Ring Elk with Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade bloodline as your mount. Treasure description: a mount type treasure. After using it, you can obtain a golden ringed elk as your mount companion. Black flame horse and golden ringed elk? Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows. He originally wanted to drip his blood on it and give it a try, but when he saw the note at the back, he hesitated for a moment and dismissed his thoughts. Since there was a limited number of mounts he could have in his life, a mount with only a yellow gold tier advanced grade bloodline and a yellow gold tier elementary grade bloodline was clearly not enough to satisfy his requirements. The mount he wanted had to be at least a bloodline level mount like Nazario. Otherwise, he would not be interested. Zhou Zhou thought for a moment and asked Bai Yi to find 2 cavalrymen with outstanding military achievements. Bai Yun received the order and left. Soon, 2 white silver tier advanced grade intermediate grade professions, wind cavalrymen, followed by Yun over. My lord, these are Zhang Yao and Zhou Sun. They're 2 very brave wind cavalrymen. The 2 of them have already accumulated a lot of military merits. They are currently the commander and deputy commander of the cavalry in the Blazing Sun Army. Bai Yun said respectfully. Greetings, my lord. Zhang Yao and Zhou Sun said respectfully and excitedly. Zhou Zhou smiled and nodded. Then, he handed the black flame horse mount contract to the 2 of them. These are 2 mount contracts. As long as you drip your blood on it, and they recognize you as its master, you can obtain 2 mounts with yellow gold tier bloodlines. Do you want it? He asked. I want it. Of course I want it. Thank you for the reward, my lord. The 2 of them knelt on one knee excitedly. Their potential was only at the yellow gold tier advanced grade. If they obtained these 2 mounts, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. You 2 fought well. These are your rewards. Fight well in the future, and there will be better benefits. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly when he saw this. Then, he handed the 2 mount contract books to him. Yes, my lord. The 2 of them said excitedly and respectfully. Then, they took it with both hands and dripped their blood on it without hesitation. 2 golden lights flickered on the mount contract book. Then, they turned into 2 golden streams of light and flew into the space between their eyebrows. The 2 of them closed their eyes instinctively. Soon, they opened their eyes. They looked at each other and could see the excitement in each other's eyes. Summon them and let me take a look. Zhou Zhou smiled. He was a little curious. This was also the first time he had come into contact with a mount contract. He also wanted to see the performance of this treasure. Zhang Yao and Zhou Sun nodded. Then, they shouted at the same time, Come out, black flame horse. Come out, golden ringed elk. 2 spatial teleportation arrays automatically gathered in the air beside them as soon as they finished speaking. Then, a tall horse covered in black flames and an elk covered in golden rings jumped out of the spatial teleportation array and came to their side. After the black flame horse and the golden ringed elk came out, they stuck close to the 2 of them, looking very intimate. Zhou Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder at this scene. Then, he looked at the attributes of the black flame horse and the golden ringed elk. In the end, he realized that these 2 mounts had their own characteristics. The black flame horse was good at long-distance raids and used a flame called the black flame fire to attack. Even though the golden ringed elk did not have any offensive ability, it had an even more astonishing speed and flying ability than the black flame horse. He looked at their expressions. Zhang Yao and Zhou Sun were clearly quite satisfied with their new mounts. Then, they thanked Zhou Zhou and left. Bai Yun looked at Zhou Zhou with burning eyes after the 2 of them left. Zhou Zhou touched her nose and smiled. Don't worry, I won't forget you. There's just no suitable mount for you yet. Forget about the black flame horse and the golden ringed elk. A better mount had to be arranged for Bai Yun as his general. Bai Yun blushed. However, she was looking forward to it. Zhou Zhou led the Blazing Sun Army onto the Black Ghost and flew to the next white silver tier regional territory, the Yellow Earth Plains, because the Wild Sand King's loots were on the loot list. In less than a minute, Zhou Zhou and the others arrived at the Yellow Earth Plain. Yellow Earth Plain. Zhou Zhou and the others looked at the scene in front of them. It's really a yellow plain. Zhou Zhou sighed. This Yellow Earth Plain was as its name suggested. They were all huge plains formed by large stretches of yellow earth at a glance. The violent wind swept through the sand, making this land look even more desolate. Zhou Zhou took out the regional map of the yellow earth plane drawn by Wu Tuesday. He looked at the map. The yellow earth plane was slightly smaller than the dust wasteland. There was only one white silver tier Scarlet Lord territory, 3 green bronze tier Scarlet Lord territory, and 5 black iron tier Scarlet Lord territory. The only thing that surprised Zhou Zhou was there were actually 5 territories of the lords of all races here. However, it was only an accident. He did not pay much attention to it. Let's attack. Let's strive to take down 3 white silver tier regional territories today. Zhou Zhou ordered in a low voice. Yes, my lord. Bai Yun and Wu Xian said respectfully. Then, he led the soldiers towards the green bronze tier Scarlet Lord's territory closest to them. 2 hours later, Yellow Earth Plain. In the Lord's residence of the yellow-striped Fog Wolf, Zhou Zhou looked at the shattered territory tablet in front of him and took out the territory token and regional token inside. He suddenly felt a little emotional. It was too fast. They had actually conquered a white silver tier regional territory in only 2 hours. This was something he did not dare to think about in the past. Now, he had actually done it. There were undoubtedly 2 most important factors that could do this. The first was naturally the Black Ghost. Zhou Zhou and his Blazing Sun army could save a large amount of traveling time and quickly shuttle through the territories of the various Scarlet Lords, or even different regions to conquer with the Black Ghost. It would probably take them 3 to 4 hours on foot, and probably an entire day to capture a white silver tier regional territory without Black Ghost. Unlike now, they had already captured 2 white silver tier territories in an afternoon. Just as he had thought, the appearance of the Black Ghost had indeed greatly increased the efficiency of his conquest. The second important reason was the explosive increase in military strength. Zhou Zhou only had more than 30,000 professionals under his command before the Night Lord and the others arrived. Zhou Zhou directly recruited a large number of professionals after the Night Lord and the others arrived. His military strength jumped from more than 30,000 to more than 50,000. He could use his overwhelming military advantage to quickly destroy their monster subjects and capture their territories with nearly twice the military strength. Each battle involved 50,000 professionals fighting hundreds or thousands of fog monsters. In addition, their individual combat strength was not weak. How could they lose? This was also the reason why they could capture a white silver tier regional territory in just over 2 hours. Let's go to the gravel wilderness. We'll go home after occupying this white silver tier regional territory. Zhou Zhou looked at Bai Yun and said,
Yes.
Bai Yun said respectfully and went to pass on the order. Soon, the soldiers rushed in the direction of the gravel wilderness. 2 minutes later, white silver tier region territory, gravel wilderness. Zhou Zhou looked at his surroundings. This was a place filled with yellowish-black gravel. Even though it was still a little desolate, Zhou Zhou could already see some green plants hidden in the gravel. I can already see green plants. There should be fewer and fewer regional territories in desert-related environments further east. Zhou Zhou thought. He was looking forward to it. His territory was still too barren because of the environment. Report. At this moment, a scout quickly came to his side and said respectfully, I've something to report, my lord. We found the location of the Wild Stone King's territory. Lead the way. Zhou Zhou said, Yes, my lord. The scout said respectfully. Then, he ran to the front of the Blazing Sun army and led the way. At the same time, Wu Xian ordered the entire army to prepare for battle. Zhou Zhou thought of the Wild Stone King's background as he sat on the back of the Mechanostrider. This Wild Stone King was the regional Scarlet Lord of this gravel wilderness. Of course, it was no different from other regional Scarlet Lords if that was the case. Zhou Zhou naturally did not care about it. This Wild Stone King was special. Not only was it a regional Scarlet Lord in the gravel wilderness, but it had also captured the territories of the other Scarlet Lords and the lords of all races in the area, unifying the entire gravel wilderness and becoming the only lord faction in the gravel wilderness. Zhou Zhou was naturally very curious about this. This was the first time he had seen a Scarlet Lord take the initiative to conquer the territory of another Scarlet Lord. He did not know why the other party made such an abnormal move. A moment later, the scout brought Zhou Zhou and the Blazing Sun Army to an empty gravel field. At this point, the scout stopped with a look of fear. He came in front of Zhou Zhou and said respectfully, "My lord, the Wild Stone King's territory is ahead. Under that vast land are its stone monster subjects." Zhou Zhou acknowledged. He looked at the gravel land and was a little surprised. If not for his powerful sixth senses from the chaos human race and sensing the dense hostility hidden under the ground, it was really difficult for him to tell that this seemingly calm gravel land in front of him was actually the hideout of a monster based on the scout's one-sided statement. "Elder Wu, get the soldiers ready for battle. At the same time, order all long-range soldiers. Launch a long-range attack on this gravel land." Zhou Zhou thought for a moment and ordered.
Yes.
Wu Xin accepted the order and used the desired military morale to attack with his 50,000 soldiers. He gave the order. Soon, tens of thousands of long-range attacks formed a net of fire in the sky, covering the gravel ground in front of him. Rumble. Countless explosions sounded. Right on the heels of that, roar. Bang bang. Rumble. The ground trembled slightly. More than 50,000 stone monsters stood up from the ground and roared at the sky. These stone monsters were made of all kinds of gravel. The shortest was 4 to 5 meters tall, and the tallest was more than 30 meters tall. Among them, black iron tier rock monsters were called wild rock monsters, green bronze tier rock monsters were called wild rock monsters, Decurion, and white silver tier rock monsters were called wild rock monsters, Centurion. In addition, there were more than 20 yellow gold tier wild rock monsters, Millennium. As for the strongest, it was naturally the region-level Scarlet Lord, Wild Stone King. Zhou Zhou looked at the more than 50,000 heads and his eyebrows twitched slightly. This number. Something was wrong. There were too many of them. The most number of monster subjects he had encountered was the withered demon tree he had encountered previously. However, it only had 10,000 withered tree monster subjects under its command. And this Wild Stone King actually had more than 50,000 monster subjects under his command. Even if there was a difference between the strongest Scarlet Lords in the White Silver Tier region, there shouldn't be such a huge difference. Could this be the reason why it took the initiative to conquer all the lords in the entire region? Zhou Zhou suddenly had an idea. He looked at the largest wild stone monster among the 50,000-odd wild stone monsters. It was the only wild stone monster that was more than 30 meters tall. Monster name: Wild Stone King, Stone Hall, Regional Scarlet Lord. Strength level: White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Monster description: the strongest Scarlet Lord in the Gravel Wilderness and the only remaining Scarlet Lord. It controls the entire Gravel Wilderness and has many wild stone soldiers under its command. It has the ambition to become a kingdom-level Scarlet Lord. Loots: 10 White Platinum Tier Mist Cores, drop rate 100%, 20 Origin Crystals, drop rate 100%, 1 White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade Equipment, Wild Stone King Armor, drop rate 10%, 1 White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade Skill Book, Summoning Wild Stone King, drop rate 5%, 1 Gradeless Skill Book, Mental Communication, drop rate 5%, 1 Pious Tier Scarlet Crystal, drop rate 3%, 1 Green Bronze Tier Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere, drop rate 0%, 6 Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent. Crystal Fragments, drop rate 0%. He really has a Scarlet Lord talent. Then its actions might be related to its Scarlet Lord talent. Zhou Zhou thought. He was a little surprised. He had also encountered many Scarlet Lords with Scarlet Lord talents, but there was only one which was so obvious. As for its White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade Strength, Zhou Zhou was also very surprised. It seemed that conquering an entire White Silver Tier regional territory had given it many benefits. At this moment, the Wild Stone King had already rushed over with more than 50,000 wild stone monsters. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou stretched out his right hand without hesitation and aimed his palm at them. White Silver Tier Lord Talent. Insight Defection. Activate. Boom. An invisible fluctuation instantly covered the 50,000 wild stone monsters. The next second, more than 4,000 wild stone monsters froze. Then, the expression in their eyes changed. They turned around and attacked their companions beside them without hesitation. The wild stone monsters that were originally attacking together immediately became chaotic. Baiyun and Wu Xian naturally would not let go of such a good opportunity. They immediately led 50,000 soldiers to attack these wild stone monsters. Kill them. Destroy these monsters. For the Lord. The two sides began to fight amidst countless furious roars. The sound of weapons colliding, bones breaking, rocks colliding, life forms roaring, guns firing. All kinds of sounds filled the battlefield. Nazario also spread his dragon wings and flew towards the wild stone king, quickly fighting it. On the other side, after Zhou Zhou activated Insight Defection, he looked at the Lord Talent hint. Prompt: you have activated your Lord's exclusive talent, Insight Defection. Insight Defection has taken effect. Lord Talent hint: a total of 2,142 Black Iron Tier Wild Stone Monsters, 1,575 Green Bronze Tier Wild Stone Monsters, Decurion, 377 White Silver Tier Wild Stone Monsters, Centurion, 6 Yellow Gold Tier Wild Stone Monsters. Millennium has betrayed their Lord faction and become your loyal subordinate. Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up. This time, there were actually 4,100 wild stone monsters that had been directly subdued by his Insight Defection. This 8% surrender rate is too strong. With this Lord Talent, I can rely on Insight Defection to incite a large number of new troops every day. Looks like we can't delay establishing the monster army, he thought. Zhou Zhou had the idea of building a monster army a long time ago. However, at that time, the level of the Insight Defection was not high, and there were not many enemies who could turn it around. In addition, Zhou Zhou was relatively busy himself, so he gradually forgot about this matter. However, now that it had been upgraded to White Silver Tier Insight Defection, its true power was already showing. He could start forming a monster army. A moment later, with Nazario's blazing explosion, the Wild Stone King, whose head was directly decapitated, fell to the ground with a bang. A kill notification appeared. Your pet lava dragon, Nazario, has killed the White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade Wild Sand King, White Sand, Regional Scarlet Lord. Promotion energy plus 20,000. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. Your pet Nazario has received an additional 80,000 promotion energy points. The territory of the Scarlet Lord has become ownerless. You can plunder or occupy it. The Dust Wasteland has become an ownerless area. You can become the regional lord of this area after you obtain the regional token. Zhou Zhou felt a gentle energy surge in his heart. Then, this energy surged into his limbs, bones, and glabella, completely strengthening his body and soul. I've advanced. Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows. He opened his personal stats. That was indeed the case. He was already at the White Silver Tier Advanced grade. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Then, he looked at the Wild Stone King's corpse and could not help but click his tongue. A White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade Regional Scarlet Lord actually provided a total of 20,000 promotion energy, coupled with the White Silver Tier Blessing of the War God. A White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Regional Scarlet Lord directly provided Nazario with 100,000 promotion energy. One word: ridiculous. In addition, Zhou Zhou was very satisfied with Nazario's performance. It was only at the Yellow Gold Tier Elementary grade now. It could crush or even kill a White Platinum Tier Elementary grade Regional Scarlet Lord. As expected of a dragon. Thinking of this, Zhou Zhou could not help but think of the spectral dragon egg that his Bloodbat avatar had brought back. Because he was worried that something would happen on the way, he got the Bloodbat avatar to follow the mysterious caravan to bring the spectral dragon egg back to Blazing Sun City. When he returned and acknowledged his soul as its master, he would be able to obtain a second dragon under his command. When the time comes, as long as the spectral dragon increased its strength, his development speed would definitely increase greatly with 2 dragons around. Zhou Zhou thought to himself. More than an hour later, all the wild stone monsters were eliminated by the Blazing Sun army soldiers. Zhou Zhou looked at the time. There were still more than 3 hours before dark. He was a little tongue-tied, and there was nothing much to say. Today, he had led the army to capture 3 white silver-tier regional territories in just over 5 hours. This actually included the time taken to retrieve the loots. Otherwise, he estimated that he would only need more than 2 hours to conquer these 3 white silver-tier regional territories. It takes at least 30 regional territories to build a kingdom. It used to feel so far away. It doesn't seem so hard now. I'm getting closer to this goal, Zhou Zhou thought to himself. At this moment, Nazario flew over with the Wild Stone King's corpse and placed it in front of Zhou Zhou. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou placed his hand on its corpse. A text notification appeared. Lord Talent notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots, Perfect Loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of loots has increased by 20%. Lord Talent hint. You have obtained Perfect Loots, 12 Mist Cores, Diamond Tier, 24 Origin Crystals, 1 Wild Stone Emperor Armor, Diamond Tier Elementary Grade, 1 Wild Stone Emperor Summoning Skill Book, Diamond Tier Elementary Grade, 1 Mental Communication Skill Book, Gradeless, 1 Fanatic Tier Scarlet Crystals, Drop Rate, 1%, 1 Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere, White Silver Tier, 7 Lord Talent Crystal Fragments, White Silver Tier. Zhou Zhou began to check these loot. He ignored the usual Mist Core, Origin Crystals, Scarlet Crystals, Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere, and Lord Talent Crystal Fragment and looked directly at the Wild Stone Emperor Armor and the Summoning Wild Stone Emperor Skill Book. They were Diamond Tier Elementary Grade items. Zhou Zhou was not too interested after taking a look. Their grades were too high after all. Neither he nor the people in his territory could learn them. Zhou Zhou looked at the only gradeless skill book. Skill name, Mental Communication. Skill quality, gradeless. Skill description. After learning it, you can master the ability to communicate with intelligent life forms mentally. Note, the number and distance of communication depends on the strength of the user's soul. Zhou Zhou was excited. He had wanted this skill for a long time. Previously, he was very envious when he saw that the intelligent one had mental communication. He finally had one now. To him, if this skill was used well, it might have an effect similar to Elder Wu's hero skill, Desired Military Morale. He immediately learned it. Then, he stood up and looked at the more than 2,000 surviving wild stone monsters on the battlefield. These more than 2,000 living wild rock monsters were the ones that he had successfully incited. Come here, Zhou Zhou said telepathically. His target was 6 yellow gold tier wild stone monsters, Millennium. They were all alive now because they were the strongest. The next second, he saw the 6 yellow gold tier wild stone monsters. The Millennium soldiers paused, then they subconsciously turned to look at Zhou Zhou. They quickly came back to their senses and bowed respectfully from afar. Then, they immediately brought more than 2,000 wild stone monsters to Zhou Zhou. Greetings, my lord. The 6 wild stone monsters spoke in the common language of the High Continent. They had naturally mastered this language after being instigated by insight defection to become subjects of Blazing Sun City. In a while, follow our army and return to my territory. Then you just wait for the new arrangements. When you don't have anything to do, follow my army to fight. Zhou Zhou said, Yes, we will obey your orders, my lord. X6. The 6 wild stone monsters, Millennium, said respectfully. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. A moment later, the soldiers found the lord's residence. Zhou Zhou obtained the territory token and regional token from the territory stone tablet in the residence there. 2 hours later, all the loots had been extracted. Moreover, the loots in the entire gravel wilderness had basically been searched and collected by the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Army. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou led the Blazing Sun Army soldiers onto the Black Ghost and returned to Blazing Sun City. 5 minutes later, in the Blazing Sun City. At this moment, some of the Blazing Sun City subjects were planting jade sun trees, some were building city walls, some were patrolling, and some were taking their relatives and friends for a walk in the city. There were all kinds of things in life. At this moment, they suddenly saw an additional black in the sky and looked over curiously. In the sky, the black ghost floated in midair. A white light shone on the ground from the center of the spaceship. Zhou Zhou, Bai Yun, Wu Xin, and 50,000 Blazing Sun army soldiers immediately appeared out of thin air. "We're back." Zhou Zhou sighed. Having Black Ghost was an entirely different experience. He immediately made a decision. In the future, this Black Ghost would be their standard equipment for going out to fight. Zhou Zhou looked at the surrounding onlookers and smiled. He asked Bai Yun to arrange for the soldiers to reward them before returning to the Lord's residence. A moment later, in the Lord's residence, Zhou Zhou looked at the list of loots in his hand. This was the gain from conquering Yellow Earth Plain and Gravel Wilderness. Other than the Wild Stone King's gains, there were 276 white platinum tier mist cores, 12,424 yellow gold tier mist cores, 154,211 white silver tier mist cores, and 146,466 green bronze tier mist cores, 94 origin crystals, 72,121 skill books, and 108,876 equipment. More than 21 million units of basic materials, 45,741 true faith tier scarlet crystals, 31,121 pious tier scarlet crystals, and 2,560 fanatic tier scarlet crystals. A yellow gold tier advanced grade alchemy pharmacist recruitment books. 2 white silver elementary grade alchemy technology recruitment books. 7 mount contracts below the yellow gold tier. 156 green bronze tier lord talent crystal fragments. 2 white silver tier, 12 green bronze tier, and 14 black iron tier territory tokens. 2 white silver tier regional tokens. I can upgrade my territory now, Zhou Zhou thought. Previously, he was only lacking a white silver tier territory token to upgrade his territory. Now that he had a total of 5 white silver tier territory tokens, he could naturally upgrade them. Thinking of this, he walked out of the Lord's residence and looked at the building in front of him. A line of text appeared. "Do you want to upgrade the Lord's residence?"
Yes,
he said. The next second, 1.2 million units of basic materials, 500 white silver tier mist cores, 20 origin crystals, and 2 white silver tier territory tokens disappeared from the territory warehouse. Boom. A golden light immediately covered the entire Lord's residence. A moment later, the golden light dissipated. A brand new Lord's residence appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. Rows of golden text notifications appeared. Congratulations, your Lord's mansion has been upgraded to a white silver tier advanced grade building. There is an additional film hall. Your territory has been upgraded to a white silver tier advanced grade territory. Territory token endurance increased to 700,000/700,000. Your territory has expanded to 80,000 m times 80,000 m times 10,000 m. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward, basic building blueprint treasure chest, white silver tier advanced grade. Lord talent hint. The upper limit of the enemy Lord faction that you can induce insight defection has been increased to extraordinary tier intermediate grade. Lord talent hint. Your monster ranches can be upgraded. Lord talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord talent hint. The strength of the clergy in your Goddess of Life shelter has increased. White silver tier advanced grade territory. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. It has finally been upgraded now. Then, he looked at the basic building blueprint treasure chest, white silver tier advanced grade. He opened it. It was the same as last time. Inside were the basic building blueprints of various territories. However, the last time was at white silver tier intermediate grade, and this time, it was at white silver tier advanced grade. Zhou Zhou took a few glances at it before putting it away. He prepared to find a time to hand it to Elder Zhao and let him reward the territory's architect. Then, He looked at the upgrade requirements for the next level of the Lord's residence. Construction upgrade, 1 million units of wood, 1 million units of fine sand. I have all the materials. I can continue to level up. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou leveled up again. 4 million units of basic materials, 2,000 white silver tier mist cores, 50 origin crystals, and 3 silver tier territory tokens disappeared from the territory warehouse. An even brighter golden light immediately covered the newly upgraded Lord's residence. A moment later, the resplendent golden light dissipated. A brand new building appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. It was no longer the previous Lord's residence. Instead, it became an even more luxurious and imposing Lord Manor. A text notification appeared. Congratulations, your Lord's courtyard has been upgraded to a yellow gold tier elementary grade building and advanced to a Lord Manor. Your Lord's blessing, the supreme barrier has been strengthened. Your territory has been upgraded to yellow gold tier elementary grade. Territory stone tablet endurance increased to 1 million/1 million. Your territory has expanded to 100,000 m times 100,000 m times 20,000 m. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward, basic building blueprint treasure chest, yellow gold tier elementary grade. Lord talent hint. The upper limit of the enemy lord's faction you can incite through insight defection has been increased to extraordinary tier advanced grade. Lord talent hint. Your monster ranches can be upgraded. Lord talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord talent hint. The strength of the clergy in your goddess of life's shelter has increased. The notification was not over yet. Soon, Zhou Zhou's expectant notification sounded. Cerulean Planet's Lord announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun, becoming the first Lord to upgrade his territory to the yellow gold tier elementary grade. Reward. Supreme Treasure Chest +1, Legendary Tier Rate +1, Race's Unique Title, Glory of the Pioneer 2 advances to Glory of the Pioneer 3. Cerulean Planet World Channel Announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Cerulean Planet World Channel Announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. The Glory of the Pioneer title has finally advanced. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Not bad. He obtained the next Pioneer title before all the other lords again. He originally thought that with the arrival of the Lord Alliance era, it might be a little difficult for him to obtain this new title before all the other lords. After all, the strength of top-notch lords had greatly increased with the establishment of the Alliance. Fortunately, he was still the first. His focus was on the glory of the Pioneer 4 next. He opened the World Channel. As expected, the lords on the World Channel were all discussing how the Lord of the Blazing Sun had once again taken down the First Lord to upgrade his territory to yellow gold tier elementary grade. Lord of the Blazing Sun, my forever god. I knew that the First Lord to upgrade to a yellow gold tier elementary grade territory would definitely be my Big Boss Blazing Sun. A top-notch Lord, Big Boss Blazing Sunday. Is there no Lord who can surpass Big Boss Blazing Sun? Indeed. Can't there be something new? This non-suspenseful feeling is so boring. I thought that after those top lords established the Lord Alliance again, their development speed would surpass that of the Lord of the Blazing Sun and obtain this honor. I didn't expect the person who obtained this honor to still be the Lord of the Blazing Sun. I also saw many people looking down on the Lord of the Blazing Sun, but he's using the truth to slap their faces now. The Lord of the Blazing Sun will definitely be able to suppress the top lords who form the Lord Alliance even without the Lord Alliance. It's so terrifying. I don't even dare to imagine what the structure of our Cerulean Planet's human lord will be like after the Lord of the Blazing Sun forms the Lord Alliance. Will the Lord of the Blazing Sun form a Lord Alliance? I'm not sure. I want to see what the glory of the Pioneer 3 looks like. Lord of the Blazing Sun, Glory of the Pioneer 3, Strongest Novice Lord. It looks something like this. Big Boss Blazing Sun appeared. I'm hugging Big Boss's thigh. Big shot. Teach little sister. Little sister doesn't know how to develop her territory next. Boo-hoo. Lord of the Blazing Sun, glory of the Pioneer 3. Strongest novice Lord, my method is to nurture myself in battles, but my situation can't fit the situation of all the lords. Everyone, you still have to adapt to the situation and play to your strengths and avoid your weaknesses to develop. Thank you, Big Boss Blazing Sun. Big Boss Blazing Sun doesn't seem so cold. Zhou Zhou looked at the heated discussion on the World Channel and smiled. He was not one of those saints who could ignore fame and fortune. He would feel happy when he saw others flattering him. He would feel happy as long as they were not malicious flattery. It was just that it was not so obvious. Therefore, every time he did something big, he could not help but come over to take a look. It had to be said. The flattery made him feel very comfortable. I'm not going to look at it anymore. I'm going to float if I keep looking. Zhou Zhou closed the World Channel and entered the upgraded Lord's Manor. It had to be said. The Lord's Manor was indeed much better than the previous Lord's Manor. The size alone was 3 times that of the Lord's residence. Moreover, the number of buildings inside was 3 to 4 times more than the previous Lord's mansion, and they were much more exquisite. He walked around for a while and quickly arrived at a building he had never seen before. It was the new building, the film hall, that had appeared when he upgraded to White Silver Tier Advanced Grade. The film hall? Zhou Zhou was curious and walked in. Then, he saw that it was a private film studio. There was also a virtual screen under the projector. On it, various movies, television dramas, documentaries, animations, programs, and even news from the Cerulean planet could be played. Zhou Zhou looked down curiously. Journey to the West, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, The Legend of Nezha, Man in Nature, Animal World, Shawshank's Redemption, Titanic. All kinds of familiar videos could be broadcasted and watched. In the future, I can come here to watch movies and television dramas when I want to relax. Zhou Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. He was quite satisfied with the appearance of this film hall. After staying in this high continent for a long time, he did miss the Cerulean planet a little. These videos could relieve his homesickness. After that, he walked out of the film hall and went to his room. There were not many changes to his room after it was being upgraded, other than the fact that the rooms were bigger and the facilities were more complete and exquisite. He went to the sofa in the living room and sat down. Then, he looked at the reward for upgrading his territory. The first was naturally the Strengthened Supreme Barrier. Skill name: Lord's Blessing, Supreme Barrier, Enhancement. Skill quality: Special. Skill description: an exclusive skill of a lord above the yellow gold tier. Every time a lord occupies a city or builds a city, a supreme barrier will automatically rise in the city after the lord agrees to it. It will be used to prevent the scarlet fog from invading the territory and has the defense power equivalent to a wall. The lord can close the supreme barrier of any territory at any time. Note 1. The defensive ability of the supreme barrier will only be triggered when the city encounters malice or attacks from enemies above the yellow gold tier. Note 2. The supreme barrier cannot be used on the lord battlefield. Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up. The supreme barrier can actually defend against attacks. There was actually such a benefit in upgrading his territory to yellow gold tier elementary grade. In the past, the supreme barrier could only block the invasion of the scarlet fog and not any attack. It was equivalent to a gas mask. It could only defend against poison and not bullets. Now that the supreme barrier had been strengthened, it meant that the city under his command would have 2 levels of defense buildings. The first was naturally the wall. The second was the supreme barrier. If the enemy wanted to break through his city, they had to break through the supreme barrier first, then break through his city walls before they could attack the city. This would greatly increase the safety of the territory. In the future, even if something similar to a Night Lord happened again, he did not have to worry about any danger and could rush back calmly. Then, he looked at the basic building blueprint treasure chest, yellow gold tier elementary grade. There were more than 20 yellow gold tier elementary grade basic building blueprints within it. Zhou Zhou was quite satisfied with these blueprints. They were different from the blueprints White Silver Tier and below. Yellow gold tier blueprints were already considered precious items. Yellow gold tier blueprints were worth taking seriously even for his current territory. They could nurture some yellow gold tier architects. Architects at this level were already considered core talents in the territory. These talents could build some yellow gold tier living buildings for the yellow gold tier professionals in the territory. It suited the needs of the subjects. He put away the blueprint and prepared to hand it to Elder Zhang so that he could distribute it. After that, he opened the supreme treasure chest. He realized that there was only a small yellowish gold bottle inside, and there was a yellowish gold medicinal pill in the bottle. A pill? Zhou Zhou was a little surprised. Is it an item of the immortal Tao civilization? He picked it up and looked at it. He realized that it was indeed as he had expected. Treasure name: Calamity Crossing Spirit Pill. Treasure grade: Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade. Treasure effect: after any life form absorbs it, their strength will reach the Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade. Treasure description: a cultivation medicinal pill created by the immortal Tao civilization's true immortal calamity crossing. It has the advantage of greatly increasing one's strength realm and forcefully raising it to a specific realm without leaving any future cultivation problems. Zhou Zhou's eyes widened when he saw this. He immediately thought of the spectral dragon egg he had obtained during the day. Normally speaking, once the spectral dragon egg hatched, it would give birth to a white silver tier elementary grade spectral dragon baby, the same as Nazario's back then. If Zhou Zhou wanted it to quickly increase its strength realm, even though it was different from before and had the blessing of the war god, it would definitely take a long time for the spectral dragon to barely catch up to Nazario. However, it was different with this Calamity Crossing Spirit Pill. He could directly raise the spectral dragon to the yellow gold tier advanced grade and save the process of increasing its strength. When the time comes, his territory would have 2 pure-blooded dragons with top-notch bloodlines and strength. But Zhou Zhou suddenly thought of something and hesitated. I can't give it to the young spectral dragon. It should be given to Nazario, he muttered to himself. Thinking of this, Zhou Zhou immediately walked out of his room and came to an empty grassland. He called out to Nazario in his heart. Soon, a black shadow landed on the ground and slowly landed accompanied by a gust of gust, blowing the surrounding grass in all directions. It was Nazario. It growled, as if curious why its master had suddenly called it over. Nazario, this is for you. Zhou Zhou stretched out his right hand with the Calamity Crossing Spirit Pill in his palm. Nazario's eyes lit up, but it did not eat it immediately. Instead, it looked at Zhou Zhou expectantly, as if asking if it was really for it. For you, of course. It's not just that. And this. Zhou Zhou extended his left hand, and a book appeared in his palm. It was the Hero Inheritance secret manual that he had exchanged from the battlefield shop. Nazario's heart skipped a beat when he saw this low-tier deity-level Hero Inheritance. This book gave it an extreme attraction, as if its heart was telling it crazily. I have to have it. I really have to have it. Request to my master. Master, please bestow this book to me. With this book, your territory will undergo an unprecedented transformation. Nazario's eyes were red. However, it did not move and only looked at Zhou Zhou with anticipation. It would make a request to its master, but it would not do anything else. If its master gave it, it would naturally be very happy. However, even though it would be disappointed if its master did not give it, it would not have a knot in its heart, let alone be dissatisfied with its master. Because in its heart, this book was indeed very important to it. However, it was far less important than its master. Zhou Zhou smiled at Nazario's eager gaze. Then, he used the object control technique to send the 2 items to Nazario. These are for you. Nazario, lower your head, he said. Nazario was stunned for a moment, then lowered its head obediently. Zhou Zhou reached out and patted its forehead. It's been hard on you all these time. In the past, my territory had just developed. At that time, even though I wanted to reward you with some things, they were not very meaningful to you, who was already very strong, so I never rewarded you. But even so, You've always worked hard and helped me conquer powerful enemies and develop my territory. Now I can take out something to reward you. These 2 items are just the beginning. I promise. In the future, you will definitely become the happiest dragon among all the dragons. I want all the dragons to think highly of you. Even the legendary dragon god. Zhou Zhou said seriously. This was his promise. Nazario looked at its master. Suddenly, it roared at the sky. Its voice was filled with happiness and satisfaction. All the orders from Blazing Sun City were attracted by this dragon roar. What's wrong with the Guardian? The Guardian seems very happy. It's good to be happy. It's good to be happy. That's right, it's a good thing. No one paid attention to this sudden dragon roar. Instead, they all had smiles on their faces. To Zhou Zhou, Nazario was his good helper and companion. To all the subjects, Nazario, who had fought many battles for the territory and brought countless victories, was also a guardian deity worthy of their respect and love. In the Lord's Manor. Nazario, you can rest in the Lord's Manor in the future. In the past, this place was not big enough for you to stay by my side and rest. It's okay now. As for the Calamity Crossing Spirit Pill and the Hero Inheritance Secret Manual, you can use them here with me now. No one will disturb you here. Zhou Zhou smiled. Nazario nodded happily. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. Then, he chatted with Nazario for a while, more before returning to his room. Then, Zhou Zhou opened Glory of the Pioneer 3 and checked its title stats. Title name: Glory of the Pioneer 3. Title quality: Unique title of the race. Title effect 1. You are famous among the lords of Cerulean Planet. More people admire your reputation and yearn to join your territory. The number of subjects that can be summoned through the Gate of Summoning every day plus 300%. Among the subjects summoned, there will be a class talent of the same level as the territory plus 4. Title effect 2. Your unique title suffix will be added behind your lord title when you speak in any channel. You can take the initiative to turn it off or activate it. Title effect 3. When you become the first Cerulean Planet Lord with a white platinum tier elementary grade territory, this title will be upgraded to Glory of the Pioneer 4 and unlock more title effects. Title description: The Supreme Will is the exclusive title given to the Pioneer among the Lords. Every Pioneer of every race has a higher chance of achieving extraordinary achievements. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. It had increased by another 100%, and there was another subject of the same level. While the former was no longer very meaningful after having the new effect of peace and prosperity, the effect of the latter was still very important. Moreover, the higher the level of the territory, the stronger it would be in the later stages. I can summon the subjects tomorrow, and there will be a legendary tier talent coming over. Zhou Zhou was looking forward to it. Then, he looked at the materials needed to upgrade his territory to the yellow gold tier intermediate grade. Construction upgrade: 3 million units of wood, 3 million units of fine sand, 3 million units of metal, 3 million units of stone, 100 yellow gold tier mist core, 80 origin crystals, 1 yellow gold tier territory token. I have all the other materials. I'm only lacking a yellow gold tier territory token. Zhou Zhou pondered. A white silver tier territory token could only be obtained by attacking the territory of a white silver tier Scarlet Lord. That yellow gold tier territory token could probably only be obtained by attacking the territory of a yellow gold tier Scarlet Lord or a yellow gold tier local lord. Zhou Zhou immediately thought of a place. The territory of the Taiyan Kingdom, Dark Knight Town. Currently, this is the only yellow gold tier territory I know that can still be attacked. Looks like we can only attack here. Thinking of this, Zhou Zhou was even more glad that he had obtained the right of passage to the Sandstorm Forbidden Land. Otherwise, his territory might be stuck at the yellow gold tier elementary grade for a long time. After Nazario consumed the Calamity Crossing Spirit Pill and used the Hero Inheritance Secret Manual, it will become a yellow gold tier advanced grade dragon hero with a low tier hero's fate level slot. When the time comes, it should be able to easily defeat the Diamond tier advanced grade Scarlet Lord. It might even be an extraordinary tier enemy. I can even defeat Nazario. Zhou Zhou thought. He suddenly froze. In that case, he seemed to be not far from the top combat power of the kingdom. A top-notch kingdom-level combatant was only an extraordinary tier hero after all. He was even more confident in his plan to attack Dark Knight Town thinking of this. After Nazario advanced and became a hero, even if his attack on Dark Knight Town attracted the support of the Taiyan Kingdom, with Nazario's strength, they should be able to retreat unscathed and even carry out a siege operation. Then, he stopped thinking about it and went to the Gate of Summoning to upgrade it. Because the territory had already leveled up twice in a row, the Gate of Summoning had successfully advanced to the yellow gold tier elementary grade after consuming 600,000 units of basic materials, 1,000 white silver tier mist cores, and 100 yellow gold tier mist cores. Congratulations, your Gate of Summoning has been upgraded to a yellow gold tier elementary grade building. You can summon plus 70 subjects every day. You will definitely summon 12 professionals every day among the subjects. Prompt. Under the influence of the unique title of the race, Glory of the Pioneer 3, you can summon 645 subjects a day. You will definitely summon 13 professionals every day among the subjects. And the professional levels of 4 of the professionals will be the same as your territory level. From tomorrow onwards, I can summon 645 subjects. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly. This number had already exceeded the number of subjects attracted by peace and prosperity every day. Then, he looked at the requirements to upgrade the Gate of Summoning to the yellow gold tier intermediate grade. Construction upgrade, 200,000 units of wood, 200,000 units of fine sand, 200,000 units of metal, 200,000 units of stone, 500 yellow gold tier mist core, territory level upgraded to yellow gold tier intermediate grade. Zhou Zhou shook his head. He had to wait for the territory to level up first. He returned to the Lord Manor and entered his room. Then, he took out the white silver tier Scarlet Lord talent sphere he had obtained from the Wild Stone King. A text notification appeared. Do you want to purify it? Purify? Zhou Zhou said expectantly. The next second, a golden light flashed on the Scarlet Lord talent sphere. Then, its information changed. Treasure name, Lord Talent Sphere, Embrace of the Conqueror. Treasure grade, White Silver Tier. Treasure effect, the Lord will possess the White Silver Tier Lord Talent, Embrace of the Conqueror after absorbing it. Treasure description, a Lord Talent Sphere purified by the Supreme Will. After absorbing it, you can obtain a White Silver Tier Lord Talent. Embrace of the Conqueror? Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows. He looked over. Lord Talent, Embrace of the Conqueror, White Silver Tier. Embrace of the Conqueror, 1. Every time a lord conquers a territory, he can attract a different number of classless subjects to join his territory. 2. Every time a lord conquers a regional territory, he could attract a different number of professional subjects to join his territory. 3. Every time a lord conquers a kingdom, he could obtain the loyalty of a hero with an extraordinary tier hero's fate level slot. 4. Every time a lord conquers an empire, he could obtain the loyalty of a hero with a legendary tier hero's fate level slot. 5. Every time a lord conquers a divine kingdom, he can obtain the loyalty of a hero with a true god tier hero's fate level slot. So this is the Embrace of the Conqueror. No wonder the Wild Stone King destroyed all the lords of Gravel Wilderness and had so many Wild Stone subordinates. Zhou Zhou suddenly thought of something. His normal Lord talent was transformed from the original Scarlet Lord talent. Not surprisingly, the Wild Stone King's Scarlet Lord talent should be similar. It's a pity about the Wild Stone King. This can be considered half a growth talent. It can play a good role at all stages of the Lord's development. It's a pity you met me. I intercepted you. Zhou Zhou lamented. He felt a little uninterested about this talent. This was because he did not lack classless subjects and class subjects. In addition, he realized that he could drop the Hero Inheritance secret manual by killing heroes, so he was destined to not lack heroes in the future. Which meant, the ability of this Lord talent could only serve as icing on the cake for him. Zhou Zhou shook his head. Never mind. It was better than nothing. Then, he closed the Lord talent panel and willed. Soon, A bloodbat flew in front of Zhou Zhou. It was the bloodbat avatar that had gone to the kingdom of eternal silence during the day. It stood on the table in front of Zhou Zhou and spat out a spatial ring and a fog monster bag before flying away. Zhou Zhou watched it fly away. He did not plan to retract this bloodbat avatar into his body. Instead, he planned for it to stay in Blazing Sun City so that it could be his eyes and microphone. This way, if something similar to a Night Lord happened again, he would be able to know the news immediately. He retracted his gaze and looked at the two items on the table. Then, he asked Aaliyah to bring the fog monster bag to Mugu at the Monster Ranch and asked him to nurture the violent storm spirits inside. He also asked Aaliyah, Zhang Fugue, and Carol Moeli to come and see him later. Aaliyah received the order and left. When Zhou Zhou saw this, his gaze landed on the spatial ring. He picked it up and took out the 5 treasures he had traded during the day. Firstly, it was naturally the spectral dragon egg and the accompanying soul contract. Zhou Zhou looked at the soul contract. After seeing its specific information, he knew how to use it. As long as he stuck the soul contract on the dragon egg and used a wisp of mental power to come into contact with it to appease the spectral dragon baby in the eggshell, he could try to sign a soul contract with it after it became docile. Why is it so troublesome? Didn't I just drip my blood on the egg when I made Nazario recognize me as its master? Zhou Zhou muttered in his heart. However, he did not plan to follow the steps of Nazario recognizing him as its master. He could not afford such a loss if anything were to go wrong. He obediently placed the soul contract on the dragon egg and sent a wisp of mental strength into the soul contract. Soon, through the soul contract, he sensed a confused consciousness in this spectral dragon egg. Zhou Zhou perked up. This should be the consciousness of the spectral dragon. He carefully probed with his mental strength and came into contact with this spectral dragon young dragon. He emitted a consciousness that was similar to friendliness, concern, care, and love. The young spectral dragon had no resistance to such consciousness. It immediately transmitted a lonely, yearning, intimate, docile, and dependent emotion to Zhou Zhou's spiritual power like a curious baby. Zhou Zhou was stunned. It actually succeeded so easily. He immediately began to sign a soul contract without hesitation. The next second, the contract was signed with no hiccups. Zhou Zhou immediately felt a soul connection with the spectral dragon in the dragon egg. It was somewhat similar to Nazario, but there were some subtle differences. Perhaps it was because their stats were different. One was fire, and the other was spectral, so it gave him this feeling. Zhou Zhou guessed. At this moment, it transmitted another memory to Zhou Zhou. It was a memory from the dragon egg. Actually, this spectral dragon baby already had its own consciousness thousands of years ago. However, it was born deficient back then. In addition, even though the spectral dragon was comparable to a pure-blooded dragon, it was still not liked by the orthodox pure-blooded dragons. Therefore, it was abandoned by its mother a long time ago. It was born with a congenital deficiency and did not have the nurturing of its mother. It relied on its ghost talent to subconsciously absorb the surrounding death energy and soul energy to survive in its half-conscious state. Zhou Zhou knew everything that happened after that. The king of eternal silence and his wife unintentionally found this spectral dragon egg and placed it in the deepest depths of the eternal silence kingdom. It was nurtured by absorbing the rich undead aura in the deepest depths of the ground. Thousands of years passed. The young spectral dragon gradually made up for its innate shortcomings and regained its consciousness. However, it could not break out of its shell because of the confinement of the rock layer around the eggshell and because no one took it away. Therefore, it guarded the darkness in the eggshell for more than 1,000 years. Until the king of eternal silence encountered the mysterious caravan and traded it to Zhou Zhou. So it's a poor little guy. Zhou Zhou sighed with emotion. He carried the dragon egg to an empty courtyard and gently placed it on the ground. Then, he stood up and looked at the dragon egg. Come out. There's no need to continue guarding the darkness in the dragon egg, he said gently. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhou Zhou could feel the spectral dragon in the dragon egg emitting excitement and desire. Crack, crack, crack. Cracks appeared on the surface of the dark blue eggshell. 3 to 4 seconds later, bang! A strange little dragon, whose entire body was dark blue and whose crystal white skeleton could be vaguely seen, broke out of the dragon egg. It stretched its body. Soon, it revealed its entire body. After completely stretching its body, it looked at Zhou Zhou with an intimate and dependent expression. Zhou Zhou could not help but touch its head. It was cold and slippery, but very sturdy. It was not as strong as Nazario's defense when it was born, but it was not too far off. The little spectral dragon had no resistance to its master's head touching. Instead, it took the initiative to lean its head against Zhou Zhou's hand and rub it. Zhou Zhou smiled and retracted his hand after touching it for a while. The little spectral dragon looked at Zhou Zhou for a while before retracting its gaze reluctantly. Then, it lowered its head and started eating its eggshell. During the process of eating the eggshell, the strength aura and dragon might emitted from its body gradually increased. Fortunately, Zhou Zhou had the will of the Dragon Slayer King. Therefore, facing its dragon might was like a breeze. Soon, the 2-meter-tall eggshell was completely eaten by it. At this moment, its strength had already reached the green bronze tier advanced grade. Zhou Zhou looked at it. Attribute information appeared. Pet, does not have a name yet. Race, spectral dragon. Growth stage, infancy. Strength level, green bronze tier advanced grade. Skills, ghost dragon breath, dragon might, draconic magic mastery, soul magic mastery, undead magic mastery, thrilling dragon roar, dragon bone shield, soul secret whisper, unawakened, spectral dragon clone, unawakened, summoning undead, unawakened, legendary tier physics immunity, awakening level 1%, legendary tier soul immunity, awakening level 1%, extraordinary tier elemental immunity, awakening level 1%, potential, legendary tier, loyalty, dead loyal, personality, silent, bloodthirsty, intelligent, cold, likes to be alone, relies on his master, and is antisocial. Pet description: an innate ghost dragon with noble bloodline. A different pure-blooded dragon. Be it strength or potential, it is one of the best among the myriad races in the myriad worlds. Due to its stats, its innate destructive power is incomparably powerful. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. As expected of a spectral dragon, these stats were not inferior to Nazario's at all. Let's call you Auguste, Zhou Zhou said. The little spectral dragon was a male, and this name meant the dead king in the supreme common language. Zhou Zhou felt that it was quite suitable. Auguste nodded happily. At this moment, a guard hurried in. I've something to report, my lord. Lord Mugu, Lord Zheng Fugue, and Lord Carol Moali request an audience, he said respectfully. Let them in, Zhou Zhou said. Yes, my lord. The guard received the order and left. At this moment, a huge black shadow flew over. It was Nazario. It landed beside Auguste and looked at the little guy beside it with surprise in its scarlet dragon eyes. Auguste also looked at it curiously. Then, it took unfamiliar steps and staggered towards Nazario. Nazario snorted. In an instant, the dragon might that erupted from its body immediately stunned Auguste. Nazario looked at it quietly. It was as if he was saying, "Don't come near me." Auguste was stunned. This feeling of being despised was familiar. Nazario, this is your future comrade. Zhou Zhou frowned slightly when he saw this. However, he quickly thought of the reason why Nazario treated Auguste like this. Bloodline biasness. This was because Auguste was a spectral dragon. Nazario, as an orthodox pure-blooded dragon, looked down on it even though it was born a natural spectral dragon. When Nazario heard its master's words, it retracted its dragon might even though it was a little unwilling. Auguste was still a young baby dragon after all. It quickly forgot its previous unhappiness and pounced on Nazario's thigh. Nazario was very disgusted, but it did not kick it away. When Zhou Zhou saw this, he could not help but rub his eyebrows helplessly. It seemed that this was the only way. Bloodline was what the dragon race valued the most. Even the dragons were divided into all kinds of different dragons because of their bloodline. This was a matter decided by the race. He could not change it. It was already quite good that Nazario and Auguste could get along like this. At this moment, Mugu, Zheng Fugue, and Carol Moali came to the courtyard and saw the two dragons immediately. They were stunned. Nazario, go back and continue absorbing the Calamity Crossing Spirit Pill and the Hero Inheritance. Auguste, stay here for now. Don't disturb Nazario for the time being. I'll take you out to play tomorrow. Zhou Zhou said. Nazario nodded slightly, glanced at Auguste, which flapped its dragon wings to fly away. Auguste's eyes lit up when it heard Zhou Zhou's words. It nodded obediently and ran to the side to play. Zhou Zhou looked at Mugu and the other two. Come with me, he said. Originally, he wanted to continue looking at the remaining 4 treasures. However, since they were already here, he would see their improvement first. Yes, my lord, the 3 of them said respectfully. Then, he followed Zhou Zhou to a meeting hall in the middle of the lord's manor. In the meeting hall, after the 4 of them arrived, Zhou Zhou sat down first before the 3 of them sat down. The territory has been upgraded to yellow gold tier elementary grade. Tell me about your growth. Mugu, come first. Zhou Zhou looked at Mugu.
Yes.
Mugu stood up and said respectfully, after my lord's territory was upgraded to yellow gold tier elementary grade, my strength also increased to yellow gold tier elementary grade. The number of monster ranches that I can manage has already reached 10. The maximum capacity of each monster ranch has increased from 2,000 to 3,000. The upper limit of the monsters that I can nurture has also increased to the yellow gold tier elementary grade. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. In that case, his fixed income from the monster ranch every day would definitely more than double. As for how much it would increase, it would depend on the specific gains tomorrow. He suddenly felt a little emotional. Even though he already had a total of 14 Lord talents, the one that could really stabilize his strength was this monster ranch. Of course, its fixed income was also thanks to the help of the other Lord talents. He opened Mugu's personal information and realized that his various skills had advanced to yellow gold tier elementary grade with his advancement to yellow gold tier elementary grade. There were also some yellow gold tier elementary grade skills that he had never seen before, but were related to monster nurturing. Build as many of the remaining monster ranches you can. Don't worry about no new monsters being farmed for the time being. At most, they would be kept as backup. Zhou Zhou said to Mugu. In any case, the monster ranches had to be built sooner or later. He might as well build them earlier. This way, when new monsters with protection value were captured in the future, he could directly throw them in. Yes, my lord, Mugu said respectfully. Zhou Zhou nodded and looked at Zheng Fugue. Elder Zheng, tell me about it too. Yes, my lord. Zheng Fugue stood up with a chuckle. Reporting to my lord. With the upgrade of the territory, the number of our caravan has increased from 50 to 200. In addition, our carriages have increased from 50 to 100 now. The abilities of all the mysterious merchant have also been upgraded to yellow gold tier elementary grade. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. With this improvement, the mysterious caravan could sell and buy more goods in the future. He finally looked at Carol Moali. Reporting to my lord. We already have 50 clergymen, 50 priests, 100 nuns, and 100 life paladins in the shelter. Moreover, the strength of all the clergy has increased to yellow gold tier elementary grade. I've also advanced from white platinum tier advanced grade to diamond elementary grade. Carol Moali said respectfully. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. He was even happier. The shelter of the goddess of life concerned whether or not the soldiers who died in battle could be resurrected, and how many of them could be resurrected. This was extremely important to him. After that, Zhou Zhou asked them to go back separately before looking at the next treasure. Item name: Spirit Violent Storm, Class Change Certificate. Item level: Gradeless. Item effect: Kingdom Level Combat Class Change Tool. After using it, you can become the spirit of the Kingdom Level Combat Class, Violent Storm. You will also have a set of Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Standard Equipment, 20 years of combat experience of the Spirit of the Violent Storm, and the initial strength of the Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Item description: Kingdom Level Combat Class Certificate. Just one can allow ordinary people without any strength to step onto the extraordinary tier path of a combat professional. Item name: Violent Storm Spirit Recruitment Books. Item level: Diamond Tier Elementary Grade. Item effect: Kingdom Level Combat Class Recruitment Books. Throw them into the Gate of Summoning, and you can summon a Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Violent Storm Spirit with White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade potential to become your subject. Item description: A Kingdom-level combat class from the Kingdom of Eternal Silence. It has powerful spell destruction and physical damage immunity. The King of Eternal Silence is actually so generous. He directly gave the Violent Storm Spirit recruitment books with White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade potential. Zhou Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. This potential was already comparable to a legendary tier talent. He took this recruitment book to the Gate of Summoning and threw it in. Soon, a young man wearing the Wind and Thunder robe and holding the Wind and Thunder staff walked out of the Gate of Summoning. Violent Storm Spirit, Wang Han. Greetings, my lord. His voice was cold and respectful. Rise. Welcome to Blazing Sun City. Zhou Zhou smiled. It's my honor to become your subject, my lord. Wang Han said respectfully. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. Then, he looked at his attribute panel. Subject: Wang Han. Territory: Blazing Sun City. Combat class name: Violent Storm Spirit. Strength level: Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Ability overview: A resident from Violent Storm Island who has the elemental talent to control wind and lightning since he was young. After joining the Wind and Thunder Gate, the sect master valued his aptitude and taught him the combat class of the Violent Storm Spirit. He is currently undergoing a sect quest to train outside. He accidentally joined Blazing Sun City and became the subject of the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Skills: Talent: Wind and Thunder Spirit Body, Kingdom-level Combat Talent, Elemental Incarnation, Kingdom-level Combat Skill, Death Violent Storm, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade, Controlling Wind Spirit, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade, Controlling Thunder Spirit, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade, Listening to Wind Whisper, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade, Thunder Flash. Extraordinary Tier Physical Damage Immunity, Awakening Level 1%, Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Damage Immunity. Awakening Level 1%, 1%. Loyalty, 85. Potential: White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Zhou Zhou clicked his tongue. This attribute panel was a little strong. Even though it was not as strong as the initial interface of the Divine Kingdom Soldier type, Maris, it was only inferior to non-hero soldier types and non-dragon units like Maris. He suddenly looked forward to it. The Violent Storm Spirit was already so strong. Wouldn't he take off immediately after Mugu nurtured a large number of Violent Storm Spirits tomorrow and created a large number of combat professionals? Then, he suddenly thought of something and looked at the Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificate in his hand. We can't waste these Class Change Certificates of the Spirits of Violent Storm. It's a Kingdom-level combat class certificate after all. Maybe I can change some low-level soldiers to Kingdom soldiers like the Violent Storm Spirits. Zhou Zhou thought. He thought for a moment and asked Atli to gather all the combat-type professionals in the territory to come to him. A moment later, 16 people appeared in front of him. Zhou Zhou looked at them. These 16 people were the current soldier-type professionals and combat professionals in his territory. They were Sword Shield Soldier, Pudeo Soldier, Spear Soldier, Crossbowman, Bowman, Cavalryman, Scouts, Crossbowman, Poison Crossbowman, Musketeer, Star Musketeers, Water Crossbowman, Aurora Cavalryman, Sandcorp Summoners, Elemental Archers. Zhou Zhou handed the Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificate to them and asked them to try to change their classes one by one. Soon, the results were out. Other than the Sandcorp Summoners and Elemental Archers who could change their profession to the Violent Storm Spirit, the other professionals could not change their profession to the Violent Storm Spirits. Zhou Zhou understood the reason immediately. This was because the Violent Storm Spirit was a combat class that focused on casting abilities. Among these professionals, Only the Sand Corpse summoners and elemental archers focused on casting spells. As for intermediate grade soldiers like the cavalrymen, even though they had a certain level of spellcasting ability, their spellcasting ability was biased towards support in their respective class systems. It was not the dominant ability of their respective class. Therefore, it was not suitable for them to change their class. Zhou Zhou pondered. Could only the Sand Corpse summoners and elemental archers change their profession to the violent storm spirits? He thought for a moment and quickly made a decision. Since that was the case, he would change all the Sand Corpse summoners to the violent storm spirits. In any case, the Sand Corpse summoners had a very low presence in his Blazing Sun army. Their role on the battlefield was not so obvious. Sometimes, their role was not even as direct as the basic military types. Most importantly, the ability of the Sand Corpse summoners was to transform the flesh and blood of monsters into sand corpses, thereby creating controllable combat strength. However, not all monsters were flesh-type monsters. Moreover, if the flesh and blood of monsters were really turned into sand corpses, it meant that this monster corpse could not collect loots. This would be disadvantageous to Zhou Zhou. Since that was the case, he might as well turn this useless intermediate-grade combat class, Sand Corpse Summoners, into the Violent Storm Spirit, a kingdom-level combat class. Not only that, since the Sand Corpse Summoners were useless, he might as well remove its monster ranch and change it to the monster ranch of the Violent Storm Spirits. There are a total of 10 monster ranches that Mu Guam can manage now. 7 of them have been occupied by 7 types of monsters. If we remove the Sand Corpse Summoner's Monster Ranch, there will be 4 monster ranches free. If that's the case, why don't we nurture the violent storm spirits in these 4 monster ranches? Zhou Zhou thought for a moment, and his eyes lit up. This was also very simple. The King of Eternal Silence had given him 10 violent storm demon spirits in the pockets of the fog monsters. He could just distribute these 10 violent storm demon spirits to the 4 monster ranches. Then, he would see 4 monster ranches that nurtured the violent storm spirits the next day. Zhou Zhou looked forward to it. The 4 monster ranches jointly produced the Violent Storm Spirit Recruitment Books and the Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificate. Before long, he would form a team of violent storm spirits under his command. It could even form an army of violent storm spirits. When the time comes, his Blazing Sun army could have combat strength not inferior to the dragons even without Nazario. As for the elemental archers, Zhou Zhou did not intend to turn them into the violent storm spirits. The Sand Corpse summoners were only intermediate-grade combat class. However, it was a high-level soldier-type class. Zhou Zhou did not want to give it up so easily. As for finding any monsters worth joining the Monster Ranch in the future, he would just revoke the Monster Ranch that was the Violent Storm Spirits. Then, he asked Wang Han to look for Wu Xian and temporarily join the Blazing Sun army. In the future, he would follow the army to fight. Then, he returned to the Backlord Manor and looked at the next treasure, the Kingdom Token. I have 2 Kingdom Tokens now. What should we do with this? Sell it? Zhou Zhou muttered in his heart. He only needed 1 Kingdom Token to establish a kingdom, so the second Kingdom Token would be idle. However, Zhou Zhou was a little unwilling to sell it. This was a Kingdom Token that only mythical tier lords had the right to exchange for at this stage. There was no need to mention its preciousness. It would be a pity to sell it. Perhaps it would be useful in the future? He thought for a long time, but could not think of a way to deal with it. He simply put it away and waited for the time when he could use it in the future. Then, he looked at the 4th treasure, Greedy Wolf Totem. He looked at its specific stats and abilities, and the result was naturally the same as what the King of Eternal Silence had said. If used well, it will be a killing machine on the battlefield. If I can condense a Greedy Wolf avatar with extraordinary tier intermediate grade strength, I'll be almost invincible among all the lords. Zhou Zhou thought. He thought for a moment and called Wu Xian over. Then, he handed the Greedy Wolf Totem to him. Elder Wu, I'll give you this Greedy Wolf Totem. Try your best to train the soldiers and master the Greedy Wolf Moon Howling Array inside as soon as possible. This array formation is very useful to us. Zhou Zhou said in a low voice. Wu Xian had the hero skill, desired military morale. If he wanted to quickly master this greedy wolf totem, it would definitely be Wu Xian. Yes, my lord. Wu Xian was shocked when he saw the attributes of the greedy wolf totem. He immediately realized the lord's expectations of him. Even though he felt that he had a heavy responsibility on his shoulders, he still agreed without hesitation. He would not disappoint. How could he let his master down? Zhou Zhou acknowledged. Then, he chatted with Wu Xian for a while before letting him leave. Then, Zhou Zhou looked at the last treasure. The strange treasure, the heavenly mist treasure bag.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.